Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a Schedule 14A from Outset Medical. It's not exactly beach reading, but stick with me, because what's buried in these filings can sometimes be more shocking than finding out your doctor is investing in your dialysis company. This Schedule 14A is basically their proxy statement for the 25 annual meeting of stockholders. Think of it as the company laying out the issues they need shareholders to vote on. It's like a permission slip they need from their owners. Okay, so what's on the ballot? First, they want to elect 2 directors. Nothing too spicy there. Then there's a say-on-pay vote where shareholders get to give a thumbs up or down to how much the top executives made last year. They're also asking for approval to increase the number of shares available under 2 different stock plans, their equity incentive plan and their employee stock purchase plan. And finally, they want to ratify, which is like rubber stamping, the appointment of their accounting firm, KPMG. Unsurprisingly, the board recommends voting for all these proposals. They always do, right? Before we go further, they call out a reverse stock split. In March, they did a 1-for-15 reverse stock split. That means 15 old shares became 1 new share. This doesn't change the overall value. It's like exchanging 15 $1 bills for a $15 bill. It's done to boost the share price, which can help attract investors. In this proxy statement, all share amounts have been adjusted as if the split happened earlier. Let's take a peek at these nominees and current directors. The filing gives a handy table showing their ages, roles, and committee memberships. They also highlight some stats. 6 out of 7 directors are independent, 3 of 7 are women, 2 are racially or ethnically diverse, and the average director tenure is about 5 years. They include a skills matrix showcasing what each director brings to the table. Things like healthcare experience, financial literacy, and risk management are all considered important. Focusing on one of the nominees, D. Keith Grossman, age 64, is listed as lead independent director and also serves on the compensation and nominating and corporate governance committees. He has deep experience in the medical device industry. The other nominee, Patrick T. Hackett, also 63, is the audit committee chair and on the nominating and corporate governance committee. He has a background in private equity and healthcare software. It says that all directors except the CEO Leslie Trigg are independent. This is important for good corporate governance, ensuring the board isn't just a rubber stamp for management. The CEO Leslie Trigg is also the chair of the board, while Keith Grossman is lead independent director. This setup gives the CEO strong control, but the lead independent director provides some oversight. Next up, they talk about risk oversight. The board manages risk through its committees, including the audit committee for financial and cybersecurity risks, the nominating committee for governance, and the compensation committee for risks related to pay. Of course, they have a code of ethics. This is standard stuff about integrity and compliance. They also maintain stock ownership guidelines for executives and directors. The CEO should own stock worth 3 times her base salary. This is a way to make sure the higher-ups have skin in the game. Let's move on to executive compensation. Shareholders get to vote on whether they approve of how much the top execs are getting paid. This vote is non-binding, meaning the company doesn't have to listen, but it's a good indicator of shareholder sentiment. First, a bit of bragging about their accomplishments for last year. Their Tableau installed base grew, recurring revenue increased, gross margins improved, and they cut operating expenses. Plus, they got a clean bill of health from the FDA after an inspection. They're using both regular stock restricted stock units or RSUs and performance-based restricted stock units or PSUs to pay employees. The stock ownership guidelines say how much stock each director and executive need to own. Here's a quick rundown from the 2024 summary compensation table. Total compensation for the CEO Leslie Trigg was around $4 million, and Jill Ahmed, the CFO, made around $1.5 million. Most of this comes from stock awards. Now comes the request to increase the shares available in their equity incentive plan. They want to add 1.95 million shares. They mentioned that a private placement where they issued shares diluted existing shares. The largest shareholders are several investment firms, including FMR LLC, with close to 15% ownership. The details of equity awards for the leadership team are listed in this section. The fourth proposal requests to increase available share by 255,000 in their employee stock purchase plan. The last proposal is to rubber stamp their accounting firm KPMG. They've been with them since 2011. KPMG charged them around $1.4 million for audit services in 2024. Tactor Medical is trying to reassure investors after a tough period. They're highlighting improvements in their business like growing recurring revenue and cutting costs. But they also need to sweeten the pot for their executives and employees to keep them from jumping ship. Hence the request for more shares in the compensation plans. As they mentioned, those holdings had been significantly diluted after that private placement and the conversion. Looking at this, I think Outset's future is uncertain. They're making progress but relying on long-term revenue from a limited client base that may or may not materialize, and are relying on FDA and other governmental bodies not to change any of the rules that are in place. Their high debt remains a point of concern. Plus, their plan to reach profitability is dependent on cutting costs and more sales. As always, the risk disclosures should give you an idea on all the uncertainties they might have and the company faces. If the economy faces a downturn, consumer spending may decrease and may lead to the lack of revenue in coming years. They might face tough situations. That's all for today's Corporate Decoder. Did you find this breakdown helpful? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of corporate filings.